Hello, welcome to HITC Sport. Alright, let's take a look at the Premier League table. If every current club were forced to field their worst ever Premier League team, it would probably look like a division resembling the goddamn Championship. Lads, the absolute state of teams coming up in this. 20th Aston Villa 15-16. Yeah, this Aston Villa team should almost be branded as a criminal offence for even existing. Managing to finish rock bottom in this list of god-awful teams, it's almost impressive. It's like somehow losing a spelling bee against a bunch of illiterate hillbillies and Floyd Mayweather. But out of everybody in this list, Aston Villa's 15-16 team was the worst of the bunch. Actually, I'm not even going to call them a team. There was nothing team about it. Sloppily chucking 11 footballers out on the pitch. That doesn't make a team, just like gluing together 6 chunks of hairballs don't make a cat. This club had more managers than wins that season. Half the players had given up by Christmas. And if you tell me that's unfair, 11 league defeats in a row? Pathetic. 19th, Watford, 99-2000. Seriously lads, whoever manages to still get relegated in this scenario, it's almost like competing in a relay race against 21-legged sheep and still losing. If you actually manage to finish in this bottom 3, it's where your club was run by circus clowns. Well lads, considering the chairman of this Watford team was Elton John, kind of says it all. Christ, who was the tea lady, Mrs. Doyle?
Go on, my son.
It was a pretty pathetic showing. Watford won just 6 games all season, finished bottom on 24 points. It was bizarre. By mid-September, the Hornets had won at Anfield, beaten Chelsea, and then they just forgot how to play football. Between September and late March, they'd won just 1 bastard game. Those Watford fans must have had a worse Christmas in the KSI. 18th, Man City, 2000-2001. Look away now, Man City fans. This is you before the money. Finishing 24 points below Ipswich Town. I know, it's a pretty horrid reality for any City fan to face up to. City without the cash is like a Kardashian without the makeup. Gone are the multi-million-pound brand deals. Instead, she'd probably be confused with the local mountain troll. This team went down without a fight on 34 points. They conceded 4 or more goals on 7 occasions. Just awful. 17th, West Ham, 10-11. West Ham's attempts at staying up this year were absolutely pathetic. But can you blame them when your main source of motivation is Avram Grant? He's about as charismatic as a broken fridge. They didn't win any of the last 9 games, losing 7 of them, including chucking away a 2-goal lead against Man United. They had the backbone of a paralysed donkey, an absolutely laughable excuse of a team, and yet still are somehow not getting relegated in this reality. Christ above. 16th, Wolves, 11-12. Wolves' 11-12 season was a rudderless ship. As soon as Terry Connor was handed the wheel in February, it's like being halfway through a plane trip across the Atlantic, and then for some reason the pilot just lets his cat do the rest.
Here you go, Whiskers. Try not to crash into the water.
That was essentially what replacing Mick McCarthy with Terry Connor was. At the time, Wolves were a team who prided themselves on home form. Mick McCarthy's always tried to turn the club's home ground into a fortress as intimidating as the Neverland Ranch, but their last win of the season at Molyneux was on December 4th. 25 points, 5 points all season. They conceded 82 goals. What was their defence made of? Empty crisp packets and stale blocks of cheese? 15th, Leicester, 2001-2002. Knowing the size of Robbie Savage's ego, he probably has that Player of the Year award taking pride of place on his mantelpiece. But winning that award in a team who finished bottom on 30 points, a bit like Danny DeVito winning a prize for being the tallest midget. It was horrific. This Leicester team went through 4 different managers. They went 4 months without a win. They were relegated on April 6th. They put up about as much fight as Anderson Gibb, and he spent 90 seconds waddling around the ring like a constipated lobster. This was the last season ever played at Fulbert Street. After losing 10 times to that stadium, one of which included a 5-0 defeat to Bolton, one was a bastard 6th home loss to Leeds. Half the fans were probably ready to see that ground go up in flames. Christ, they were probably willing to fork out for the goddamn petrol. 14th, Crystal Palace, 97-98. Crystal Palace fans probably won't agree with me on this. Anyone fortunate enough to buy a season ticket for the 97-98 season at Sellers Park, they probably still seek therapy on a weekly basis, agreeing to pay money to watch 2 home wins all season, the first of which didn't happen until late April. This season included an 8-game losing sequence, one of which included a 6-2 home defeat at Chelsea. Christ, this disastrous season must have taken a toll on their players. 13th, Burnley, 09-10. Again, tale of 2 halves this season. Had Owen Coyle stayed, he'd probably have kept Burnley up. For Christ's sake, their first game at Turf Moor coincided with a win over the champions of England. But when he was replaced with Brian Laws, they collapsed. Their complete lack of resilience and spine was epitomised by the fact they found themselves 5-0 down at home to Man City after 45 minutes. Absolutely hideous. And it speaks volumes about the absolute bog standard of this make-believe division that I have them in 13th. 12th, Southampton, 04-05. Yeah, this was another farce. After a hopeless first half of the season, Harry Redknapp was pinched from across the south coast and just steered the club headfirst into the Championship. This was Peter Crouch's breakout year, scoring 16 goals to earn himself a move to the Champions of Europe. So how bad was their defence? 11th, Norwich, 04-05. Norwich's worst year was the same as Southampton's, 04-05. Yes, it was poor, and not even the mid-season arrival of Dean Ashton would keep them up, but I don't want to pick on It was just they had a bang average squad. They were never going to stay up, and the fact they didn't finish bottom, that alone deserves my respect. There was spirit in this team. After going 6 games without a win and finding themselves 4-1 down at home to Middlesbrough with just 10 minutes left, most teams would crumble. But no, they somehow managed to claw themselves a draw. For Christ's sake, they nearly staged the Great Escape, winning the last 4 home games, one of which included a 2-0 win over Man United. There was fight in this team. But the last game of the season, they lost 6-0 to Fulham. 10th Newcastle 15-16. Yes, I realise that Newcastle team of 08-09 finished with less points than this one. I don't care. Nothing will ever tell me that this club's worst team wasn't that heap of human sludge compiled by Steve McLaren. Sure, Rafa Benitez improved things when he was appointed in March, hence why they were able to claw 3 more points than the team of 09. But under McLaren, I've never seen such a collection of good players display such mental fragility on the pitch. Actually, the only team that comes close is England's golden generation. And who was their manager again? Let's not forget this Newcastle team at England internationals, future Champions League winners, future World Cup champions, big players. I mean, sure, they were also tasked with carrying the likes of Jack Colback every week, which is a bit like an elite athlete being dealt a heavy dose of hemorrhoids before every race. But still, no club should be able to stick 6 goals past a relegation rival at home. No club should be able to beat Jurgen Klopp's Liverpool or mastermind 2 wins over Spurs, one of which included a 5-1 win, and still go down. That was the most frustrating thing. There was talent leaking out of every orifice of this squad, but they had the backbone and will to win of a turn up. 21 defeats, 1 home to Sheffield Wednesday. They conceded 5 or more goals 3 times. How is this ever allowed to happen? In fact, how do I have this rotten excuse of a squad? A team who only cared about their bank accounts and future career moves. How do I have them in 10th? They were absolute pig diarrhea. 9th, Brighton 18-19. Officially, Brighton's worst season in Premier League history was last year, finishing 17th on 36 points, failing to win any of the last 9 games, one of which was a 5-0 collapse at home to Bournemouth. Chris Hughton is damn lucky the season finished in May. Had it gone on 2 more weeks, the club would have been relegated for sure. They were saved by the bell. But yeah, would finish about mid-table here. 8th, Sheffield United 06-07. Yeah, we're comfortably into the top half, and I'm still picking teams who are relegated. What a horrible excuse for a league this would be. Relegation fodder everywhere you look. Look, I felt bad for Sheffield United in 2007. Yes, officially their worst attempt at a Premier League season, but lads, they won a respectable 10 games. Their home form was good. Neil Warnock had his side fighting to the end, and were it not for West Ham fielding ineligible players, they would have stayed up. A squad low on talent, sure, but unlike most of the unmotivated slurry I've chosen so far, they had a bit of fight. 7th, Everton 03-04. Yeah, David Moyes' 2nd season in charge of Everton, and Wayne Rooney's last at Goodison Park. Moyes was so lucky he wasn't sacked after this, good Christ. Sure, they stayed up with 39 points, but they got lucky. This wasn't a laughably terrible team, just a stale one, filled with very little quality. Half the squad just looked at inspiration from a guy not old enough to drink. When you have seasoned veterans relying on a child to win games, it's not great for team morale. 6th, Tottenham 03-04. God, what a bang average season. Spurs finished 14th, and this entire campaign was characterised by February's 4-4 draw at home with Leicester. Yes, this club could score goals, they banked home 47, but Christ above, their defence was almost a stain on the sport. Still though, their attack would probably get them into the top 6 here. But again, it's not much of an achievement. 5th, Bournemouth 15-16. Bournemouth's worst top flight season was arguably, at the time, the club's best ever year in existence. Trust me, there were no gloomy faces after finishing 16th in their debut Premier League season. They're almost parties on the street. For Christ's sake, that club probably paraded that finish as if they'd won the league. 42 points when they had Callum Wilson out injured for the entirety of the season. This was a damn success. So yes, in this haphazard league, anyhow, get yourself in the top 5. 4th, Chelsea 95-96. Yeah, even Chelsea at their lowest ebb would probably still squeak into the top 4 here. 8 years before the catch, Glenn Hoddle managed to get this club 11th in the league. It was a fairly unspectacular season, but still, a squad with Mark Hughes, John Spencer and Ruud Hudda would probably still finish top 4. I mean, the Bournemouth are finishing 5th. 3rd, Arsenal 19-20. Let's be honest lads, this is Arsenal's worst ever Premier League season. And don't get me wrong, it is poor, but still, Mikel Arteta has enough good players at his disposal to get the squad into the top 3 in this crazily terrible league. 2nd, Liverpool 11-12. This was a shocking season for Kenny Dalglish. People say he was harshly sacked. Was he? Because if you have Luis Suarez and you still finish on 52 points, 14 defeats in the league and an 8th place finish below Everton, Newcastle and Tottenham, that is a disgrace. A 4-0 defeat at White Hart Lane. Further losses to Stoke, Fulham, Man City, Bolton, Man United, Arsenal, Sunderland, QPR, Wigan, Newcastle, West Brom and Swansea. Absolutely pathetic. But still, the squad did have Suarez, Steven Gerrard, a young Jordan Henderson, and hey, did okay in the cup, so would probably have enough in them to finish 2nd here. 1st, Man United 13-14. Yeah, this is a league where David Moyes finishes 7th and 1st. How the f does that work? Listen lads, it shows the standard of other teams in this league that Man United and their embarrassing 13-14 showing under David Moyes, they would actually find themselves top of the charts. Don't get me wrong, this was embarrassing. 12 league defeats for the champions of England, but still there were enough big characters and leaders in this team to finish top of this horrendous pile of pig testicles. Anyway, that's the end of it lads. What do you think? Let me know in the comment section below. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and as always, I'll talk to you in a while.